If you feel like you've taken the wrong path and you realized it too late, this video is for you. Not because you're weak, not because you're incapable, but because you woke up. Here's a line in Stoic philosophy that very few people have the courage to face. You are not behind in life, you are simply arriving with awareness. But here's the problem: awakening hurts. It forces you to look back at wasted time, wrong choices, years spent living as if you were hiding from yourself. And then the question appears. No one says it out loud, but everyone thinks it. Is it too late now? In this video, I won't motivate you with empty cliches. We're going to break down Stoic quotes, one group at a time, to understand why the feeling of being lost too late is not the end, why Stoic believe responsibility matters more than hope, and most importantly, how to turn late awareness into real, daily action at the end of each session, not too news to a life certainty. If you've ever thought I should have understood this earlier, don't leave. This video might be a turning point you didn't expect. Here's a truth that's hard to swallow, and Stoic philosophy never avoids it. The feeling of being lost doesn't appear when you fail. It appears when you begin to see the truth. People often think being lost is a sign of weakness. But to a Stoic, being lost is the beginning of wisdom. Let's start with the first quote. Feeling lost is not a failure, it is the moment before clarity is born. Notice this: no one feels lost while living on autopilot. You only begin to feel lost when the things that once reassured you, your job, your relationships, your old goals, no longer convince you. And that is the most dangerous moment. Not because you've lost direction, but because you can't return to unconscious living. Stoics call this awakening through discomfort, waking up through unease. Marcus Aurelius wrote that when the mind is no longer lulled to sleep, it resists the life it used to live. So if you feel confused, restless, unsettled, that's not a sin you're broken. It's a sin you've outgrown a former version of yourself. But here's the problem: most people stop right here. You are not behind in life, you are simply arriving with awareness. This is one of the most painful illusions of modern life, comparing your awareness today to someone else's timeline. You look at friends who are successful. You look at people who seem settled. And you conclude, I arrived too late. But Stoicism asks you a cold question: so you want to arrive early, or so you want to arrive correctly? Epictetus said, no one loses because they arrive late. They lose because they walk without knowing where they're going. Awareness doesn't follow a biological clock. It doesn't care how old you are. It shows up only when you've lived enough to stop lying to yourself. And this is what scares most people. What feels like lost time often becomes the foundation of true judgment. Stoics don't believe in wasted lives. They believe in tuition. You pay tuition with wrong relationships, blind choice, years spent living for others, and the problem isn't how much you paid. The problem is this: did you use what you learned? If you live wrongly but now understand why it was wrong, you possess something rare, judgment, something younger people might not have, something money can buy. But Stoicism does stop at understanding. Even now, you are exactly where choice still exists. This is the final line between Stoicism and despair. The desperate person says, it's too late. The Stoic asks, right now, what is still within my control? Epictetus called this the dichotomy of control, clearly separating what you can control, the past, other people, time already gone. What you always control, your next choice. With just one conscious choice, you are no longer a victim of your past. And this is the key: not everyone who awakens changes. But no one changes without awakening first. If you only listen and don't act, this philosophy becomes entertainment. So here are 3 Stoic exercises, practical, simple, but not easy. Exercise 1. Empty a lostness. Write one complete sentence. I feel lost because I no longer believe in fame. No avoiding. No polishing. Just the truth. Exercise to supreme regret. Divide a page into 2 columns. Left, I paid the price with, or right, it taught me if you don't extract the lesson you'll keep paying for the same one. Exercise 3 small choice. First off, every morning, what's one small action today that lets me live and press more correctly? Not changing your whole life, just choosing slightly better than yesterday. And if you're thinking it sounds good, but is that enough? The next group will answer that. Because when a Stoic awakens, what they face next is not hope but time and a late beginning. After awakening, the next fear almost always appears. Not what should I do, but do I still have time? Stoicism and comfort you by saying everything will be fine. It asks something much harder: what will you do with the time you have left? It is never too late to live according to your values. It is only too late when you stop choosing. Listen carefully to the second part. Times and kill your ability to change. Giving up those. Stoics believe this. Every day you wake up, you still own one right. No one can take away the right to choose how you live. You may not be able to undo old consequences, but you can always change your attitude toward the present. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor, and yet he wrote like someone afraid of arriving late to himself. And this leads to a hard truth. A late start with clarity is stronger than an early start with illusion. We live in a culture obsessed with being early. Early success. Early wealth. Knowing your purpose early. But Stoicism asks, early for what if you're moving in the wrong direction? Many people start early and spend 1 to 2 years climbing the wrong wall. Starting late, but you know who you are, know what you don't want, know the cost of illusion. That's not a disadvantage. That's a strategic advantage. But you still have to move forward. Even a delayed path can be walked with dignity and purpose. Stoics don't judge life by speed. They judge it by dignity. You may arrogantly start over lack advantages, but if you continue with discipline, honesty, responsibility, every step carries weight. Epictetus was once a slave. He didn't have an ideal timeline, but he had dignity in every choice. And now we reach the quote many avoid. The present moment is the only place where a life can still be rebuilt. The past no longer listens to you. The future doesn't exist yet. Only the present is where action still works. Stoics are ruthless with time, no excessive nostalgia, no distant fantasy, no waiting for the perfect moment. They ask, right now, what can I do more correctly? If you live inside, if only I had, you are rejecting the only place that can still save you. This group isn't about emotion. It's about conscious action. Ecstasy on first rivalus writes down 3 core values you want to live by, not what society praise. Examples: honesty, discipline, self-mastery. Every decision for the next 3 days must align with at least one of them. Ecstasy stop comparing for 7 days. Every time you compare your timeline to others, stop and ask, does this comparison help me act better? If not, cut it off. Ecstasy stress and action. Choose one small thing you've delayed because it's too late now. Do it within 2 hours. No extra prep. No optimization. Just do it. If you're still thinking, but my past, what of that? The next group face it directly. Because Stoics don't erase mistakes. They turn them into discipline. If there's one thing that traps people the longest, it's not poverty, not failure. It's regret. Not because it hurts, but because it repeats. Stoicism doesn't try to make pain disappear. It teaches you how to use it correctly. Your past mistakes are lessons paid for. Use them or waste their cost. Stoics don't say, don't make mistakes. They say, don't pay for the same lesson twice. Every mistake has already been paid for, with time, with energy, with emotion, sometimes with dignity. The question is not how do I forget it? The question is, what did this mistake buy me? If you don't use it to change how you live, it will return in another form at a higher cost. But many people stay stuck here for one reason. Late realization is not a curse, it is wisdom that survived experience. We romanticize figuring it out early. Stoics don't. They understand some lessons only come after you've paid for them. If you woke up after losing a relationship, chasing the wrong goals, living against yourself, that doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous in a good way. Because you're no longer naive. You know what consequences look like. But this wisdom becomes useful if you do one thing wrong. The Stoic knows that regret is only useful when it becomes discipline. Regret isn't bad. Useless regret is. A non-Stoic remembers the mystic self-blames and changes nothing. A Stoic remembers the mystic, extracts the rule, installs new behavior. Examples: regret lack of discipline, create structure, regret trusting the wrong people, set boundaries, regret procrastination, act earlier than comfortable, regret must leave a trace in behavior. Otherwise, it's just mental torture. And here's where the mind betrays you most. The mind suffers more from imagined regret than from present effort. Be honest. You don't suffer most while doing hard things. You suffer most thinking about what you should have done. The mind magnifies the past. What if I had chosen differently? What if I had been more decisive? What if I had started earlier? But Stoicism is brutally practical. No hypothetical changes the present. Only actions us. Present effort may be exhausting, but it's quiet. Regret is not. It whispers all night. If you truly want to free yourself from the past, these exercises are unavoidable. Exercise on Take Lesson writes down the biggest mistake you still think about. Below it, answer 1. What things did I ignore? 2. What emotion was I acting from? 3. What will I do differently next time specifically? Exercise 2. Turn regret into release. Convert each regret into a rule for living. Example: I regret not speaking up. A rule: if something matters, I speak early. Exercise 3. See on over toshti. Every time your mind returns to the past, ask what is the smallest present action that can break this loop? Tenzo it immediately. No more analysis. If you look closely, you'll notice Stoicism does that fast. It strips the past of its control over the present. But there's still one final step, a step very few people dare to take. Because it's no longer about thinking. It's about responsibility. The next group is where everything becomes serious. If you're still watching at this point, there's a truth you need to hear and it won't feel good. Understanding still isn't enough. Stoicism starts to become powerful not when you relate to it, but when you take responsibility. The Stoics not ask why now, but instead ask what must I do now? Pay attention to the mind's habit. When things fall apart, we ask, why is this happening to me? Why was I so stupid? Why did I only realize it now? It sounds deep. But honestly, it's the question of delay. Stoics are blunt. Why? Don't change your next action. Only this does. What do I have to do now? That question don't let you hide. It pulls you back into the present where choice still works. And when you start asking the right question, the pressure rises. Life does not ask when you are ready, it asks whether you will respond with virtue. This is Stoicism's calm slap in the face. Life didn't wait for you to understand enough, feel confident enough, heal enough, it just watches how you respond. When you're insulted, so you have self-control. When it gets hard, so you stay steady. When you have power, are you fair? That's virtue, not feelings, not motivation. Stoics don't wait until they feel ready to live right. They live right so they become stronger. And this is where many people start wanting to back away. The Stoic path begins not with hope but with responsibility. Hope feels comforting. Responsibility doesn't. Hope says everything will work out. Responsibility asks, what part of this is mine? Stoicism doesn't fight hope, but it doesn't lean on it. It leans on discipline, principles, and choice repeated every day. Responsibility doesn't depend on circumstance. No matter where you are, you still have to choose how you live. And then we reach the most important quote in this section. You cannot change the years behind you, but you fully command the step you take next. Stoicism doesn't argue with the past. It cuts off the past control. You don't get to choose where you were born, what mistakes you made, how others treated you, but you always get to choose the next step. And life, when you look closely, is just a chain of next steps chosen consciously. No huge steps required. No perfect steps required. Just your step. This session is for people who want comfort. It's for people who want their power back. Exercise unchanged question for the next Sundays. Every time you think, why is this happening to me? Replace it immediately with, what is the most right action for me right now? Exercise 2 on virtue on ze pick one virtue exe self-control constipation course life by it even when no one sees it. Exercise the here next step, write down one small but specific step you will take in the next 2 hours. No thinking more. No preparing more. Do it. If you made it this far, you realize something. Stoicism doesn't turn you into someone cold. It turns you into someone who takes full responsibility for their life. But there's one final layer. A place where you don't just take responsibility, you learn how to accept and truly grow up. After all of this, one question can be avoided. Not how do I change, but can I live at peace with this life? Stoicism doesn't teach you to defeat fate. It teaches you to mature inside it. Do not mourn the person you could have been, become the person you now understand. This is where many people get stuck for life. They don't live in the present. They live with an imagined self. If I had been different back then, if I had been braver, if I had missed it. Stoics call it the illusion of the old self. It doesn't exist. It can't return. And it doesn't need to be mourned. The only thing that's real is this, the person who understands themselves more clearly right now. But to do that, you have to learn something harder than change. Time's unforgiving, but it allows meaning to emerge from acceptance. Stoicism then believe the universe will make it up to you. Times in return, the people you lost, the chances that passed, the years that are gone, but times does something else quickly. It gives you distance to understand. When you stop resisting the past, it stops controlling your emotions. Acceptance isn't surrender. Acceptance is stopping the waste of energy on what cannot be changed. And when you accept deeply enough, something strange happens. You are not punished for your delay, you are tested by how you move forward. A lot of people life is punishing them. Stoicism sees it differently. Life doesn't resent you. It just watches how you respond. You arrived late, fine. The question is, are you more honest now? More disciplined now? More clear-eyed now? The test isn't when you started. The test is the quality of your next step. And here's the line that crystallizes the entire journey. It is not age that makes change difficult, but attachment to old excuses. Age is a number. Excuses are the chains. It's too late. This is just who I am. I don't have an advantage. A Stoic hears that and asks one question: those that help you live more rightly. If not, drop it. Maturity to a Stoic isn't knowing more. It's excusing less. This isn't an exercise anymore. This is a way of living. Exercise on stop feeding to old self. Write one sentence: I'm no longer trying to become. And finish with: I choose to become. Exercise tu conscious existence. Whenever you think about something you can change, whisper, "This is outside my control." Then ask, what is my right response? Exercise remove the excuse. Pick the one excuse you use most. For the next 10 days, don't use it. Just act. Stoicism doesn't promise you an easy life. It promises you an inner strength that doesn't depend on circumstances. If you arrive late, arrive the right way. And if this video made you pause for a second, that might be a sign that you're not as lost as you think. If you're still here, you probably didn't watch this for entertainment. Maybe you're looking for a different way to see things, not to escape life, but to stand more firmly inside it. Stoicism doesn't change the outside world. It does one thing: it helps you not get swept away by it. If today's lines made you slow down for a beat, if you saw yourself in them even a little, hold on to that. You don't need to agree with everything. Just take one idea into tomorrow and live it quietly. Stoic was one created to speak for you. It was created to stay with you while you learn to speak to yourself. If you want to keep having conversation like this, not loud, not rushed, not fake positive, you already know whether you should stay. See you again when you need a reminder to live more rightly. Stoic Quotes.